Hey, how's it going, guys? After testing out the new Space A40s, I'm curious to try out the new Q45s, especially since some YouTubers are hyping this up to be one of the best headphones ever, or the best, at the price range. Full disclaimer, I am no audiophile. This is going to be more of a quick review slash overview video from an average consumer standpoint. On the front of the box, there are two features it mentions that kind of stand out to me. Up to 98% noise reduction, as well as 50 hours of playtime. They had these same features on the A40s, and while noise reduction wasn't at 98%, it was definitely an improvement from the previous years. As well as the battery life, they like to stretch these numbers out quite a bit, but it should still be pretty good. Probably around 30 to 40 hours if I were to take a wild guess. In the box, you're introduced with the hardcover case. Inside there is everything else, including the headphones, 3.5mm headphone jack, and the USB-C cable. There's also a quick start guide. The build seems to be identical from last year's model, even the one before that, which is interesting, although I won't say the build quality has those same issues that the Q30s did. I actually don't think we know where they built these. Either way, I'm going to assume it's not a problem, even though I've only had it for a week. If it does, then obviously more people will know. Anyways, I digress. All your ports and buttons are on the sideline, including a 3.5mm headphone jack. I'm sure some people will still appreciate that that's around. There wasn't much of a learning curve, and I adapted to it pretty quickly. In terms of comfortability, it's not bad. I mean, it clamps on pretty nicely and covers my ears. The top isn't anything too crazy. Again, it's just the same build that I saw last year. The one downside is if you live in a warm climate and you expect to go out for walks or runs, you're probably going to start sweating in 30 minutes, which is exactly what happened to me. The one other gripe that I have is that the ear cups don't rotate both ways. It only goes one way. And the reason why that's a little bit disappointing is because for me, it's easier to just swipe the ear cup behind my head if I need to talk to someone or hear something. Of course, there's transparency mode, but I mean, that's just a whole different game. We'll get to that more in just a moment. It's still versatile. You can fold this up and put it in a bag or the hardcover case that it comes with. Setting this up is pretty simple. You can just connect it directly through Bluetooth, download the app, and you should be able to connect it from there. From there, you can also change the ambient sounds, and the ambient sounds do a pretty good job of canceling stuff out, similar to the Space A40s, but I think this might do a tad better, just because your ears are completely closed. It's not going to cut off all the noise, and that's not what it's meant to do, but it cuts off a good amount, so you won't have any problems there. Transparency mode is still decent. It feels like it kind of uses the microphone to enhance the audio outside if there's any noises. Speaking of audio, actually this app is so clutch. Without this equalizer, I would not be recommending this today. It enhances the audio greatly. It helps balance out the vocals and beat or instruments so that they're not overshadowing one another. Speaking of instruments, this is actually kind of impressive how you're able to hear the different instruments. Although they're simultaneous, you can still hear them kind of differently, if that makes sense. And finally, some songs sounded a little different. Like, for example, Post Malone, Circles. That song, in the beginning, in the first few seconds, I thought something was off. But no, it's just the level of clarity that this has is really impressive. It's almost like I was hearing a different song for a moment. So there's a good amount of clarity. The mids and highs are solid. The only area that I wish I saw a little bit more in was bass. Bass was still lacking. I know it was lacking before, and it feels like it's kind of lacking now. For example, if you're a fan of EDM music, usually there's like a lot of bass, there's a good kick to it, and unfortunately there's no punchy bass on here. It does feel, I guess, kind of empty without that punchiness for me, but not to say that it's hollow or completely empty. I mean, there is a certain amount of bass there, kind of gives a balance, I want to say, in terms of sound. Besides that, it's a pretty good pair of headphones. I really have no complaints besides the bass, and the sound is pretty solid overall. Despite everything. I guess the only other thing is I wish it had kind of a different look, maybe a nicer look. I don't know, I'm just kind of reaching here at this point. Yeah, overall I guess it lives up to its hype. Definitely do some more research though, because I have not really checked out the market. These are the only headphones I know as of right now at this price point, but nonetheless, this isn't a bad choice. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Leave a like if you did find this video helpful, and subscribe for more. As always, thanks for watching.